categorise my life now in two ways. Before Lisa went missing and after Lisa went missing. Because I'm two different people. And it was Lisa's housemate, Lenise, her friend at the time. And she said, "Have you seen Lisa?" I said, "No, I haven't seen her." And she said, "Nobody has seen her. Nobody can find her." I said, "What do you mean nobody can find her?" And she said, "She's been at the caravan all weekend." And we drove. And it was a guy I had asked to find out who this boyfriend was. He said, "Get Lisa away from him."
Lisa was annoyed because a guy that she had been seeing hadn't called her and was supposed to, and she'd been kind of hanging around waiting to hear from this person, and they hadn't got in touch. She was annoyed at being slighted by him in this way, so she just decided she was going to have a night out anyway. There was an invitation to go down to this caravan because she knew this young fellow who was acting as caretaker there. Gradually, people left, and until in the end up, there was just her and one other person there. There were various phone calls during the night, during one of which the person that she was with said that she had gone missing, that they'd heard all these noises and seen flashing lights and things, and they'd stumbled out of the caravan and run, apparently in separate directions, and he hadn't seen her since.
Joanne Dorrian, Lisa's sister, to hear a bit more about who Lisa was and what she was like. Joanne, thank you so much for taking the time to come in and speak to us this morning. I know how important it is to you and the whole family to have the opportunity to speak about Lisa and remember her. So let's start with that. Can you tell me more about your sister?
Yeah, Lisa was the eldest of four girls, with me being next in line. And just growing up, we absolutely idolised her. We used to borrow her clothes with or without permission. We used to listen to the same music that she listened to. We just really looked up to her. You know, we always wanted to go out with her when she was going out with her friends when she was younger. And she was 4 years older than me, but she was my idol. I mean, she absolutely was my idol. We were really close as sisters. We did everything together growing up. You know, we have hundreds and thousands of photographs of us on days out with our family. We were just a really normal, typical family. Lisa was a really loving person. You felt an energy from her when you were with her. You felt that you were loved and you were safe, and you know, she was just a really beautiful person to be around. She had a great sense of humour. She had a massive hearty laugh. You know, and those things are lovely to remember, but difficult because you think, what if I forget that someday?
I'm sure.
What if you know, what if I forget what her voice sounded like? What if I, you know, we have so many great memories, but, you know, we got to a point, you know, you look through these photographs here that she was just a young, innocent girl who just lived for her family and friends. She had dreams, she had aspirations. She was a hairdresser, you know, she was super talented at that. And, you know, all that was stolen from her.
It's so incredibly sad, isn't it, Joanne? And can you tell me how you actually found out about Lisa's disappearance?
Yeah, so Lisa was living in a house in Bangor with her friend. They were renting a house, and she had been away for the weekend, actually, and had come back to the house and realised Lisa wasn't there. She tried to contact her on her mobile phone. She then started phoning round the people that she knew Lisa had been with and spent that weekend with, and nobody had seen her. So I got a call then, just after I finished work on the Tuesday after Lisa went missing, to say, "Joanne, I can't find Lisa." And that was the moment where my world and our world was turned upside down forever.
Well, the impact that it's had and continues to have on your family must be seismic.
Yeah, this is lifelong, and this will always be, you know, absolute torture for us. We think about our lives now before Lisa went missing and after she went missing, because we're two different people, sets of people. We have, you know, changed as people, our lives have changed. It's cruel. It's cruel what this has caused and the ripple effect it's had on so many people. They talk about ambiguous loss, which is a loss with no end. And that's what this is. It's living in limbo. It's living in a place that you wouldn't wish your worst enemy to live in, because it's the most stressful thing you'll go through in your life.
Joanne, for people that are watching this morning, what would it mean for them to come forward with information?
It would be the best thing they could ever do for us. We've campaigned for 20 years. This has been all-consuming for our family. You know, my mum died 9 years ago, and she literally died from a broken heart. And I mean that, she really, really did. She couldn't live without Lisa. She couldn't live, you know, she couldn't find joy in life. It was gone. They stole her life too. But the people out there who could come forward and just ease this for us.
Yeah.
You know, we'll never get over losing Lisa, but we have to find her. We have to do that for Lisa. And when you think back to that girl who had that beautiful big laugh and loved playing practical jokes and was a fabulous dancer, all these beautiful things about Lisa, who really was a really beautiful person, you know, they could just end this for us.
Honestly, Joanne, you speak so powerfully. I know how much it means to you and the family to get the answers. We can actually take a closer look now at Lisa's last known movements that day.
On the last weekend of February 2005, in the early hours of Sunday morning, at around 5 a.m, Lisa and some acquaintances attended a house party in Ballyhalbert. At 7:30 p.m, Lisa and 4 others went to a nearby caravan park. It's sited on an old RAF base on the east coast of Northern Ireland, about 1 minute's drive away from Ballyhalbert. On that Sunday, Lisa and her acquaintances spent time at other locations, travelling along the peninsula in a black Vauxhall Corsa. At around 10 p.m, a small group headed back to the caravan site. Lisa was then left alone in the caravan with one man. She was seen at around 1 a.m. and has not been seen since. Lisa has now been missing for 20 years.
Well, we're now joined by DCI Kerry Foreman from PSNI to hear about the investigation. Thank you for coming in, Kerry. And we should start with the fact that sadly you do believe that Lisa came to some harm that night.
Yes, we believe that Lisa was murdered either on the evening of Sunday the 27th of February or early hours of Monday the 28th of February 2005. We know that she had gone back to a caravan on Ballyhalbert Caravan site with one other female and 3 males. We can say that Lisa was last sighted at the caravan at around 10 p.m. that night, and we believe that she was murdered in the hours following that.
In the film there, we saw a timeline of Lisa's last known movements. Are there any particular points that you'd like to draw attention to this morning?
Yes, so we know that Lisa was socialising throughout the Ards Peninsula area, around Bangor and the greater area throughout the course of that weekend. On the Friday evening, she had gone to the Lock and Key in Grimsport, and on the Saturday afternoon, she went to the Saltwater Break in Kirkcudbright. And we would appeal for anyone who may have seen Lisa in the area. She travelled in a number of vehicles over the course of that weekend. On the Sunday, she was out and about again, and as I say, we know that there were a group of them returned to the caravan site on the Sunday evening. So those are really key times for us, and we know that people will have seen Lisa, and it's our hope that their memories will be jogged. Anything that they remember about that weekend, no matter how insignificant, we would just appeal for them to come forward and help us to find the answers that the family so desperately deserve.
We've also got some CCTV that we can actually show of Lisa during the course of that weekend. Just talk us through what we're looking at here.
So we have CCTV that has now been digitised and we have released for the first time. We see Lisa with a number of other persons, as I say, both in the saltwater brig and in the Lock and Key. It was a busy weekend. We can see from the footage there were other people there at both those locations over the course of the weekend. So we believe that the answers around what happened to Lisa are out there in the community, that there are people watching this today who know how Lisa's life ended, and it's my hope that their memories will be jogged by this footage and that they will be encouraged to come forward and do the right thing.
We've also got a map here, Carrie, that just illustrates the area a bit more. Just talk us through this.
So you'll see from the map there's Bangor there at the top. That's where Lisa was living immediately before her disappearance. The Grimsport Bar there, which would have been the Lock and Key at that time. And we see the saltwater brig down in Kirkcudbright, and that's close to Ballyhalbert, where the caravan park, the caravan park where Lisa was last seen.
Now, there is a reward, isn't there, in connection to this case?
That's right. Crime Stoppers have offered an enhanced reward of £20,000 for any information that leads to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for Lisa's murder, but notably also for any information that leads to the recovery of her body. 20 years have now passed. Allegiances will have changed, people's circumstances will have changed. We know that the answers are out there within the community, and we would just appeal to people to come forward. There are anonymous ways in which they can share information for us, and they can assist us in bringing those responsible for Lisa's murder to justice.
And Joanne, just to give the final word to you, just listening to Carrie there, appealing for people to come forward, this means everything to you and your family, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely everything. This is, you know, the frustrating and cruel part of this 20-year journey that we've been on is this is not impossible to solve. Lisa is not impossible to find. You know, we know that somebody has this information, and whether that's, you know, partners of the suspects, people that have been in their life previously, who actually just see us appealing again today and say, enough is enough. I don't want to carry this myself. We will celebrate those people. You know, these people will be absolute heroes to us. They've lived with something that has weighed heavy on them, I'm sure of it. You know, they may not have been involved in the case at the time, they may not have been involved in Lisa's disappearance and murder, but they've heard something, or they've seen something, or they've been told something. And we're saying, just think about Lisa, poor Lisa, you know, and just come forward and tell us where she is.